femur. The femur is the longest, strongest and heaviest bone in the body. This bone, a person's height is roughly 4 times the length of her femur. In human body, 1/4 is covered by the femur bone. It extends from the hip joint where its rounded head articulates with the acetabulum. Let's see what are the parts in the femur. In any other long bones, in all long bones, we have 3 parts: the upper end or proximal end, shaft, and the lower end. The upper end of femur, we have head. The head articulates with the acetabulum of the hip bone. Next, to the knee joint where its condyles articulate with the tibia. In the knee joint, the condyles of femur is articulates to the tibia of leg. In this upper end, we have head and neck. This part is called as neck. Neck of the femur. Next, we go to study about this one. This known as the greater trochanter of the femur. This is greater trochanter of the femur. Is a large and somewhat rectangular projection from the junction of the neck and the body. This is a rectangular projection of the femur. It is situated in the neck and body's between part. It provides an attachment for several muscles of gluteal region. The greater trochanter lies laterally, close to the skin. And can be easily palpated on the lateral side of the thigh. This greater trochanter is easily palpated when we touch the lateral side of the thigh. Because it is the most serrated point of the hip region. The greater trochanter causes you discomfort when you lie on your side on the hard surface. Do you sit in any hard surface? People are feel discomfort. That means the femur is greater trochanter of femur is partially affected. In the anatomical position, a line joining the tips of greater trochanter normally passes through the center of femoral head and the pubic tubercle. The degree of prominence of the greater trochanter increases when the gluteal muscles atrophy. Next, we are going to study about the lesser trochanter. This is greater head, neck, greater trochanter and the lesser trochanter. The lesser trochanter of the femur projects from the posteromedial surface. It projects from the posteromedial surface of the femur at the inferior end of the intratrochanteric crest. It is located between the neck and body of the femur. Next, we are studying about the upper end or proximal end, head, neck of the femur and the greater trochanter and the lesser trochanter. Now we are going to move the body or shaft of the femur. The body or shaft of the femur is slightly bowed anteriorly and narrowed at its midpoint. It is slightly bowed in anterior position of the femur. Its middle two quarters are approximately circular in transverse sections. Inferior to the neck, the body is smooth and featureless except for the rough ridge of the bone. This is very soft and any featureless except the rough ridge of this bone called the linea aspera. This roughened part is called as the linea aspera of the femur. In the middle of the posterior surface, the linea aspera has medial and lateral lobes. To have posterior surface, posterior lobes, body of the femur is not usually palpable because it is so well covered with the large muscles like that sartorius muscle like that. Large bulk of muscles are covered this part of the body, so we can't feel that. The pectineal line runs from the lesser trochanter to the medial lip of the linea aspera. This is the lesser trochanter. The pectinal line runs from the lesser trochanter to the medial lip of the This is called as pectinal line. The tendon of the pectineus muscle is attached to it. Now, the lower end or the distal end. The distal end of the femur is broadened from the articulation with the tibia. Two large oblong condyles project posteriorly and are separated by the deep-shaped intracondylar notch. The two large oblong condyles are projects posteriorly and are separated by the intercondylar notch. Intercondylar notch. The medial and the lateral condyles blend with each other anteriorly and with the body of the femur superiorly. The medial and the lateral condyles are blend with each other anteriorly and the body superiorly. Although the articular surfaces are confluent anteriorly, each condyle is separated from the patellar surface by the slight groove. Surface where the patella or kneecap slides during flexion extension of the leg at the knee joint. The lateral and medial margins of the patellar surface can be palpated when the leg is flexed. When the leg or knee joint is flexed, we are easily palpable the patellar, the regions of medial side and the lateral side. The adductor tubercle, a small prominence of the bone, may be felt at the superior part of the medial femoral condyle. The medial and lateral condyles of the femur are subcutaneous and easily palpable when the knee is flexed or extended. When the knee joint is flexed or extended, this is the medial epicondyle, this is medial condyle and this is lateral condyle. The medial condyle and the lateral condyle is easily palpable when the knee joint is flexed. And it is subcutaneous. We are not easily felt that. Only when the knee joint is flexed, that time only we are felt that. This condyles. Superior to each condyle is a prominent epicondyle to which the tibial and fibular collateral ligaments of the knee joint are attached. The medial and lateral epicondyles are easily palpable. These condyles has formed the lateral epicondyle and the medial epicondyle. These are attached to the ligaments, the tibial and fibular collateral ligaments.